Well, hello there, neighbors. Go ahead and pour yourself a cup of coffee. I've been going through this week's reports from the Antigo Police and the Langlade County Sheriff's Office, and oh boy, do we have some stories to share. This is all the local buzz you've been waiting for. Let's dive right in. So, what's the hot gossip? You are not going to believe some of the things that went down. I'm talking everything from some serious high-speed action out on the county roads to, well, let's just call it a very creative approach to secondhand sales. It was a week, that's for sure. All right, first up, we're hitting the pavement. Let's talk about what was happening on the roads of Langlade County. It seems like our officers were kept pretty darn busy with the usual stuff and some not so usual stuff. Okay, so let's get the basics out of the way. It was a big week for folks with a heavy foot and for those headlights that always seem to burn out at the worst time. Lots of verbal and written warnings handed out, and, a few citations for people who forgot their insurance cards. Pretty standard week on that front. But it wasn't all just friendly reminders to slow down. Oh no, one incident in particular, well, it really took things to a whole other level. Happened out on one of our county roads, and it was a real nail-biter. 115 miles per hour. Let that sink in. 115. An officer actually had to call off a chase out on County Road A because they hit that speed. I mean, that's not just speeding, that's flying. Absolutely unbelievable for around here. And the road drama didn't end there. We had a truck hauling a skid steer, and its trailer was literally dragging and sparking down the road. Yikes. Someone's car just straight up lost a tire at the corner of 5th and Western. And then there's the classic story of an out-of-towner getting lost on their way back to Green Bay. Good thing an officer was there to help. But my favorite? A trailer spilled corn silage all over County Road S, and it hit other cars. Can you imagine that cleanup job? All right, let's shift gears from the main roads to right here in our own neighborhoods. This is Section 2, Neighborhood Notes, because sometimes the biggest adventures are happening right over the fence. And here we go, a true small-town classic. You can't make this stuff up. A call came into the police because a neighbor just kept moving the person's garbage cans, and the official request to law enforcement? Simply, tell them to stop. I love it. The Great Garbage Can Standoff of 2024. Of course, it wasn't all about rogue trash bins. Officers also had to deal with a noise complaint about a fire and some loud music, some fireworks popping off on Autumn Leaves Lane, and a call about somebody who was just trashing the place and throwing stuff. Plus, a harassment complaint about someone sending nasty messages and calling names. A little bit of everything in the neighborhood watch. Okay, time for what's always one of my favorite parts. Section 3, Wild Kingdom. Let's check in on our furry and four-legged neighbors and see what kind of mischief they got into this week. So we had a poor pup get stuck in a fence over at the solar farm on Hogan Street, and someone reported their white Samiad missing. It had a flashing orange e-collar, so keep your eyes peeled. And then there's the timeless tale, the saga that never ends, an ongoing complaint about a neighbor's dog doing its business in someone else's yard. The report says it's ongoing, and I think we all know exactly what that feels like. And now, my absolute favorite section. These are the stories that make you just shake your head and smile, because they could only happen here. This is You Can't Make This Stuff Up. You have got to hear this. Someone puts a bike out in their yard for sale. Okay, normal enough. Then, somebody else comes by and takes the bike for sale, but they leave their own bike behind in its place. It wasn't a theft, it was an impromptu trade-in program? The owner called it in as lost or found, which, how else would you even begin to describe that? Just amazing. And then there's this little gem. I'm just going to read it straight from the report because it's perfect. A person called because they, quote, believed someone put a tracking device on their car but was unable to find it physically. The key phrase there is unable to find it physically. So you feel like you're being tracked, but there's no actual tracker? That's a head-scratcher, for sure. So, after a whirlwind week of high-speed chases, garbage wars, unsolicited bike swaps, and invisible trackers, what have we learned? What's the moral of our story this week? I think it's pretty clear. Around here, you gotta lock your car doors, keep a close eye on your garbage cans, and hey, maybe if you put a bike out for sale, you might just end up with a surprise upgrade. You truly never know what's gonna happen next in Langlade County. Stay safe out there, folks.